This AskReddit user asks, what was the worst pain you have ever endured? Definitely severe benzodiazepine withdrawal. By far. I was on a fairly high dose and had them stolen. I ended up in the hospital with a dangerously high blood pressure, shaking uncontrollably and having painful muscle spasms, coupled by feeling like I had some kind of electric current running through my limbs, and if I didn't keep moving them it would get a lot worse. I had some sort of hyperalgesia, and if anyone even brushed against me it was excruciating. The worst part of it was the psychological aspect though. I was somewhat delusional and delirious. I guess I thought my mind was shattering into pieces. As I write this now I'm not entirely sure what that even means. But I was convinced that I was going to die. Even after I recovered from the worst of that, it had a really bad long-term effect on my brain. I had some kind of derealization, depersonalization for a couple of years. My thoughts didn't feel like my own, and there was always a disconnect between me and the rest of the world. I just felt totally out of phase with everything. That has improved. And I am off the drugs now. Same with alcohol. These two are dangerous to go cold turkey. TMJ. Nerve pain, muscle spasms, and subluxing ribs, crunching in and out of place. The loss of a child after 5 days of labor. I am sorry for your loss. I can't even begin to imagine what you went through. I hope you are doing better. Thank you. It was almost 2 years ago, but I still think of it most days. I'm petrified of doctors and hospitals now, but otherwise I'm doing great. Other replies are either extreme physical or extreme emotional pain. To experience both at the same time, I can't even imagine. I once grabbed a hot soldering iron without thinking. Definitely not as bad as some of the other things on this list. But I did manage to burn my fingerprints off. On the plus side, no fingerprints on crime scenes. No fingerprints ever again, I think. I've done this one. It stings for hours after as well. When my dog passed away. When I was 15 I contracted the norovirus. And my period, which was very irregular, came around at the same time. I legitimately thought I was going to die. My insides were 100% trying to kill me. I laid in the bathtub naked, while bodily fluids were pouring out of every hole. And my mum sat next to me showering me down as it was happening. That sounds so rough. IUD insertion. The first time I got it done the device didn't work. So I had that thing stuck in there when she was trying to get it release. Had to take antibiotics and come back in the next month to try again. The things we do not to have a baby. Oh. And I should add that I had it done on Valentine's Day. Jesus FK, that hurt. Can confirm. I fainted afterwards. Gallstones. Would rather drug-free childbirth than those FS anytime. Giving birth. 18 hours of pain, totally worth it the minute he was out. 50 hours of preeclamptic labor. Ouch. I had 12 hours of it. And it was back labor to boot. And that was enough. They just couldn't get my BP in sync with the Pitocin. I'm lucky my doctor let me labor so long. I didn't want, and didn't get, a C-section. 50 hours is ridiculous. Why would they not just cut the little ST out after the first day or whatever? Anxiety and depression. Left out by persons whom I really care. By the way, I broke my left ankle once. Got head injury. A dog bit me. Fallen into a river and many more. Skiing in icy trees. Hit one. Fell backwards and smashed my head on the ground. And my skis didn't release, so I got a small fracture on my shin. Scalp tattoo. I have heard about those. Apparently hurt like a MF. A car crash. But mentally. All the times I hurt my brother. I can relate to the brother stuff. Not the car crash though. Stitches in my finger without numbing. The doctor said the needle to numb it would have hurt more than the stitches. The summer where I had extremely painful periods that would make me pass out on the bathroom floor. Haven't had an issue since. I had an infection in the root of my tooth and had to get a root canal when I was like 12. The side of my face swelled. It sucked. My brother had the same thing and he was 10. He was in so much pain before that it was kind of worth it. Dislocating my shoulder while snowboarding. Then, as I was snowboarding down the rest of the mountain to get to the first aid building, I caught an edge and fell directly on it 15 seconds later. I know it's not funny, but I couldn't help but laugh. I was laughing when it happened too. But only because of the sheer amount of pain. Earlier of the year in February, when I had a tummy ache to a point where I'll run to the toilet every 5 minutes. Not kidding. I also had difficulty breathing, so they had to use a special machine to clear the phlegm out of my nose and lungs. A middle ear infection. Nothing but pain is the only description. Pain so high your brain stops everything else. 3 simultaneous fractures in my right arm that made my right arm shorter than my left. How is life with a shorter right arm? Kidney stones. With damage to the kidneys and urinary tract. Greater than, 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 greater than. Tearing muscles greater than. Second-degree burns greater than. Childbirth greater than. Everything else. Taking a girl on a date. Taking her on a mountain to do some snowmobile sports and have a great weekend. Have a very touch-feely makeout session. Doesn't go further than mouth-to-mouth contact though. Which I was okay with at the time. Kissing her was euphoria. I finally worked up the confidence to ask her out for prom that week. Prom about a month away. And to be my girlfriend. She said no both times. Now, here is where the pain comes from. She said she wants to focus on school right now, so a relationship won't work out and she doesn't want one right now. Which I respect that decision. She's growing up. However, the next day I find out that a guy who broke her heart not once, not twice, not thrice, but keys, asked her if she wanted to get back together. Last time it ended in death threats and her almost killing herself. I bet all of Reddit knows how this one plays out. Broken heart again. Lots of crying. Multiple suicidal thoughts, attempts. Multiple death threats. Doesn't come to school. Almost fails HS for it. Am I hurt? Yeah. Do I still love her? Yeah. Have I moved on? Yeah. Is she okay now? Yeah. Has she shut the douche out of her life? Yeah. You still love her, but have also moved on. How does that work? I'm not being held back by it. I don't cry over her. And I don't dwell on the past. She's ACT. Mate. Don't bother feeling for her. Always better options of humans out there. Appendicitis. I had appendicitis, which caused a condition called DOS, a stomach blockage unique to people with cystic fibrosis. I had to take IV antibiotics and a whole ton of laxatives because I was completely blocked up for days. Thankfully the antibiotics worked and my appendix settled down. And eventually the laxatives did their job too and I was unblocked. Probably the second worst pain in my life TBH. Anytime I hear about appendicitis being ultra painful, it makes me question how my brother endures pain in general. Dude had an appendicitis going. Never bothered to tell anyone and brushed it off as bad stomach pain. He then spent 3 weeks in a hospital because it literally burst. Peritonitis. He was 24 hours away from death. According to the doc. Legit anxiety attacks. They're like a big rock on my chest that I can't remove and have no idea what to do to deal with that pain. It's a different kind of pain, but definitely the worst. Taking something out of the oven without oven gloves. That hurt for days. Looking at TikToks with my little cousin. Gouge your eyes out. Kidney stone. The only time I vomited from pain. Pinched back nerve. The worst Taco Bell run off my life. Putting my dying dog to sleep while they whimper in my arms. STFD me up for a month. Giving birth. Cluster headaches and torn ligaments pale into insignificance compared to gallstones and bile duct spasms. My so gets cluster headaches. 2. Luckily his are the episodic ones, tending to hit for a couple months and then go away for a bit. Compared to the chronic ones, I honestly wouldn't wish those on anyone. Ever. I'm sorry you have to go through it too. Getting engulfed in gasoline fumes igniting and causing a small fireball explosion. Didn't hurt at first, but after few seconds it started to sting, which got so bad I went to get treated in the hospital. Pain lasted hours even after getting injected anesthesia in my BT. What was worse than the pain was depression I got, as I thought my right arm, leg and right side of the face would be disfigured for life, but luckily I have no scar on my face. On arm I have barely noticeable one except biceps where it stands out a lot. Leg is barely noticeable too color-wise, but skin texture under closer look is different and burned areas have weaker skin. And itching while healing was also worse than the pain. I thought it would drive me crazy. Worst itch of my life, and I couldn't scratch it very well or the new weak and thin skin under the old skin that peeled off would get damaged. I sprained my ACL. Actually currently sitting in the waiting room of physical therapy because nobody came to pick me up. I've been here for an hour, help me. By order. Kidney stones. Broken ribs. Broken collarbone. The first time I had kidney stones and I did not know what it was. I was puking out of pain for like 4 hours. Honestly. Kidney stones are no joke. It's not just PG out a rock. Your insides are in agony to get that thing out of your body, and it can get stuck so easily. It's the pressure backup in the kidney that was killing me. Passing them was just my bladder filling suddenly. Mine turned out to be clumps of soft tissue. Not actual stones. The vomiting is one of the worst parts. I remember vomiting so violently from sheer pain that blood vessels were bursting in my face. The very first time I got kidney stones I didn't know what was wrong and I genuinely thought I was going to die. Lastly, I've had kidney stones twice. 7 1mm stones the first time, then 3 5mm stones the second time. Both times I genuinely contemplated committing suicide just to end the pain. Dark as hell, but the truth. Anxiety and depression. I was trapped in my own mind and it was working against me. Can confirm. It's like a labyrinth and I'm just hoping that the Minotaur, suicide, doesn't find me. I had a colonic ulcer rupture, causing a gastric bleed. The pain was so bad that I have pretty bad anxiety when I feel anything akin to the beginnings of that pain. It was like a white-hot ball of iron was stuck in my stomach and couldn't figure out which way it wanted to exit. My body would violently dry heave trying to throw it up. Then violently try to expel it out the other end. The pain and attempted expulsion would last for 45 seconds. Then I would have about 10 seconds of reduced pain between episodes in which I could think and speak. I spent that time desperately trying to shake my so out of his speed medicine haze. He kept groggily saying to take some Tums while I was begging him to take me to the hospital. The pain was so bad that it's literally all I could think about while it was happening. My brain was a continuous script of get it out. Get it out. It has to come out. Get it out of me, on repeat. I've FD up in numerous ways in my life, causing myself a lot of pain. But I've never been in so much pain that I couldn't think about anything else. I spent a week in the hospital stopping the bleed and getting stabilized. After which I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and told that it's probably going to happen again at some point. Runner-up is when I fell 12 feet head first off of a bouldering wall onto my outstretched left palm. The MRI's list of ways that I FD up was long. But the two that I remember are that I cracked my radial head and avulsed the tendon from the bone. But if someone asked me to choose between the two, I would gladly go through that again. Even then, the pain was minor enough for me to think about things like who to call, where my stuff was, what my locker combo was, etc. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.